Yeah, so my family trip to Brazil, long awaited. We don't need to ask why that was long awaited, but we were really, really looking forward to this. I was almost nervous, actually, because I just didn't want anything to go wrong. It was such an exciting trip. And we visited, well, we saw lots of family, but we also visited some of our amazing clients. Ibichi Project, which is the artist formerly known as Comuna de Ibichipoca or Reserva de Ibichipoca, which hopefully you can see a dot down there in the bottom right near Juiz de Fora. And we visited Sandi Hotel in Paraty, which is down there, almost exactly halfway between Rio and São Paulo. And we also went out by boat from Paraty and saw the amazing villas at Jardim. And then later on in our trip, we flew, the only flying we did was all the way over there to the top left to Caiman in the Pantanal. And so those are the Senderos partners we visited. We were lucky to visit. And I shall now introduce you to the protagonists on this afternoon meander around Brazil, which is my family and other animals. So there's us in Rio, at Apuador, those that you know, Rio, lovely surf spot at the end, and that looks down all the way down Ipanema Beach. So we started at the amazing Ibichipoca. And this is a place that epitomizes, for me, the best of Brazil. You know, Brazil has got such natural wonders and its people are so amazing. I know I'm biased, but they are. You know it, those of you that have been there. And it's got to be one of the most family-friendly destinations in the world, for the simple fact that Brazilians love families and love children. So everything is a pleasure traveling around Brazil with kids. And we've done it a lot over the years. In fact, Ibitipoca we visited just after we had our first child, Anna Louisa. So that's 14 years ago. And that was the first time we went, and we've been back many times. We've been lucky to go back many times over the years. It constantly changes. It's a magical, inspirational, life-affirming place, a community of crazy, wonderful people who are trying to imagine something different. And every time I go back, it's completely changed. This time, we drove straight to Arião, which is on the very far side of Ibichipoca, and it's part of what they call remote. So in Ibichipoca, a bit like Bhutan with gross national happiness, they try and rethink the model. So we've got rewilding. They're thinking about the happiness of the people and the cultures of the local people, and also sustainable models for our planet and community. And I don't know if, I hope you can see my cursor, but within that, we've got some sort of different categories of accommodation. And by the way, the accommodation is amazing. We've got Engenho, which is this one I just showed you, which is where we first went, and it was the original. Then we've got Mogol Village, and then we've got Remote, which is where I'm going to start now. So this view, I took this picture. I couldn't get my family up, sadly, but that's their loss. But I got up very early one morning and just walked about 10 minutes, 15 minutes up the hill and took this incredible view of the sun rising. And the sun is rising not far from where Rio is, probably. And it is an incredibly special place. You're on the far side of Ibichipoca's 5,000 hectares, which feels a lot bigger. The roads are slow, and so 5,000 hectares wrapped around this state park feels really a lot bigger than that. So we came here first, which you wouldn't normally do as a client. I think normally you go to Mogol, but we did. We've been to Ibichipoca a few times, and we wanted to come back to this place and see how it had changed. Incidentally, this is a technically imperfect, very personal look at our trip around Brazil in April. It's not a training, so I hope that you do have questions, because I know I've missed things out. I can't get it all in. And please do ask questions. We can send you information. We can cover all the room categories and all that sort of stuff, practical stuff. But this is to give you an idea of the feeling of being in Ibichipoca, or Ibichi project as it's now called. So this is Spinoza, and this is where we stayed. This really does feel remote. I think you can see some of the pictures that I've cobbled together there of this amazing place surrounded by mountains and monkey puzzle trees. And here's a little video, which I hope you can hear the bird song on, just to give you a feeling of the place. Now, the state park is that bit up to the right, that massive, that mountain. And the Ibichi project wraps itself around the state park to protect it, because it's only small. The private reserve is much bigger. So we stayed in Spinoza. There's Lucas chilling out on a hammock, and this gives you an idea of the accommodation. I suppose it's the most rustic of the accommodation in Ibichipoca, but honestly, it's very comfortable. And personally, windows without glass is an amazing luxury. Opening those windows straight onto these views, incredibly beautiful cotton sheets, limited Wi-Fi, but Wi-Fi, radios, and it's really an amazing place. This is the sort of living room and kitchen area, but most of the food, but your food is taken in a separate area. And I think there's a picture of us. Yeah, there's Anna Louisa reading, and the kids playing a bit of Uno, which is about the only game we seem to be able to master. And then you go to us across a little walkway to a really beautiful bathroom. I'm going to keep going because I'm going to run out of time. I know it. This is Carlinhos. Oops, that's Carlinhos on the left, who's one of the hosts. And this is in the other bit of accommodation at Arião, which is called Epicuro, or Loft. And I put this in because he was born in this very place. And then when I was last in Ibichipoca, they just started doing up this house for people to stay in. So he is, you can't get more local than him. And him and Maria, his lovely wife, who does all the cooking, live just down the hill on their farm. And they're the hosts, and to show this incredible place. There's a little video here on the right.
Well, we got most of the way up the mountain, and I can tell you it was easy. There was no complaining, no asking Daddy why we were doing this. Let's turn back. Everyone was in great positive mood, and look at the view.
That is sarcasm.
Lucas, look at me. Look at the view.
Amazing. Parece mar de montanhas. Olha quantas montanhas que tem. Olha. Tá vendo o mar de montanhas, Bela? See of mountains. Look, I found the crystal. Wow.
Pretty amazing up here above Arião in Ibichipoca.
So yeah, so Carlinhos is the host, and his wife Maria, and there's some amazing walking. You can even get up to the plateau, which is what we were trying to do, but sadly my lot let me down and got tired early. But really, it's just an incredible place. You feel like you're the last people on Earth, and the rest of the world diminishes. So if you like that thing, which I do, then remote's your place, Arião. And Maria cooks amazing food, like they all do in Ibichipoca, on these open fires. There's an idea of, this is the dining for both sets of accommodation. So this had changed a lot since I was last here. And then, you know, the kids are off their devices. They're just in the moment. And the food's amazing, which means everybody's happy. So Mogol, this is an old picture of when I was last in Mogol. Mogol is the sort of rural regeneration project in Ibichipoca, where a lot of the energy is being focused now because there's so much change going on there. And this is also an old photo of Mogol, the last time I was there. But this is what Mogol looks like now. And you've got this, again, I hope you can see my cursor, but you've got this huge reception area here. Downstairs, there's a sort of cinema presentation area and a small spa. And there's a big spa coming in the future. And there's all co-working space. And we've got some of the different accommodations. So this is Wangari, which are 5 rooms and suites. Guimarães Rosa, which is where we stay, which is a beautiful 2-bedroom house. Here's the mountain biking center. Tiradentes just out of here is a new house. Freud is just over here. Yucca, the restaurant, and Humboldt above it, which is where we stayed the last time we were in Mogol, which is, it really had changed hugely. So Mogol, I think, is not overstating it. It's a village dreaming of a sustainable future. Now, what does that mean? That sounds very wishy-washy, but the vision is for local people to come back from the cities, and then to have scientists and conservationists and poets and musicians and tourists to come back to this place to explore new ways of our planet evolving. So here's some pictures of Ibichipoca. That's top left, that's the Yucca, and they have live music in this amphitheater. That's Yucca, the restaurant, which is wonderful. And Chef Matthias is doing amazing things with vegan and vegetarian food. Even though he's a meat specialist chef, it is only vegetarian and mostly vegan. And that's the school, Life School, where my kids went. And in case I forget to say it, it is a school where Lucas actually wanted to go back the next day. And that map gives you an idea of the state park. This is in the reception area, so you talk through the things you can do every day while you're based in Mogol. And one of the things you can do is yoga. So I'm going to skip through this, but we've got lots of, they produce a lot of their organic food, and this amazing restaurant I've already talked about, Yucca. And this is the accommodation that we stayed in, Guimarães Rosa, which is, as you can see, really rather beautiful. This is our room and an amazing bathroom. And then downstairs, because we're on a hillside, downstairs, this was the kids' room. So this is the second bedroom. And looking out the back, you've got a terrace or a balcony over to the mountains. It's a really beautiful place to stay. This is Freud, which, there you go, I put Freud in there, which you can probably see why it's called Freud. It's for couples only, and it's really a lot of fun. And yeah, we think this is great fun for the right people. And Wangari, as I said before, 5 rooms and suites. Some of the rooms here quickly, I'll have a skip through, but you can see that everything is being beautifully built and restored. And there's also Humboldt Loft, where we stayed the last time we were in Mogol, and a brand new 2-bedroom house called Tiradentes. I don't have time for that, as I've said there with a smiley face. But the accommodation is really amazing. And while you're in Mogol, there's a profusion of things to do. So this is, well, part of this is the waterfall, one of the waterfall circuits, where you walk and you go down a valley past lots of different waterfalls. Mogol is a place where very interesting people are always coming. This is actually a friend of mine from Paraty, Jorge Ferreira, who's a foraging expert, and he happened to be there when we were there. And so we had meals cooked only with food that we foraged, but that's not normal. But what is normal is there's going to be amazing people to give people a really unique experience of Brazil, let alone the art installations, and let alone the rewilding that's going on. That's a muriqui, which I'll come on to, and the mountain bikes, which I already mentioned. So yeah, they've got a really incredible set of mountain bikes, also full sus electric bikes, and a past champion, mountain biking champion, Miguel, who can take you out on mountain biking around Ibichi project. This is the reception area. There's Tazil, the Minister of Sports, with his University of Ibichipoca, Pushka. And there's us with one of our great friends, Beto, outside Freud. So this slide, for some reason, hasn't loaded properly, but that extraordinary picture of me, the reason I put it there.
Meu Deus. Meu Deus.
So these are the kids from Life School, and we went out. They're supposed to be able to see them here, but we went out to see the muriquis, the spider monkeys, which has been an incredibly successful rewilding project already. And it's a lovely experience for everybody, adults and children alike. if you look up to the top, you can see one of the beautiful Muriki spider monkeys that they are rewilding. And if I move that over, which it won't let me, you can see Lucas looking through binoculars. So the educational part of this trip was really incredible as well. And all of those kids are from Life School, and they can, and the tourists' children can attend Life School. Now I'm hoping, right, so Ingenio this time, where we started all those years ago, we visited quite quickly. There's tons going on here, but I know that I'm already going on a little bit too much, so I'm going to keep it short, and I hope that Claudia, if she ever watches this, will forgive me. But Ingenio is the perfect high-end fazenda hotel, where it all started. Beautiful accommodation, amazing service, surprises. That's the spa. That's the spa area down there where they do yoga and have spa treatments. That's Casa Carlinhos, which is a 3-bed private house just set up above. And this place is something really special as well. So they've all got a unique character. That's one of the rooms at Ingenio. That's one of the places you can visit and swim. You actually swim behind that waterfall, and they serve food in that area to the left on the beach. And that's a little thing just to say, when I first came here, everybody knew our name, and I was just gobsmacked. And then I worked out the clever way they've done it is to write your name on the blackboard before we came, so that everybody would learn our names, and those are our water glasses by our names. So, there's Antonio. If you go there, you'll meet Antonio as well. He's very cheeky and may steal your pão de queijo. So I'm going to keep moving, and I'm now going to, well, we drove. It's quite a long drive, to be honest, but an amazing drive. I loved it. And as you drop down from the Serra, the zigzags of the Serra down to the Atlantic coast, you start getting glimpses through the cloud forest. You start getting glimpses. Actually, I say cloud forest, it's really Mata Atlantica rainforest. But you see the Sea of Paraty sparkling. And then you get to the historic town centre, backed by mountains, rainforest, waterfall. It's really, really quite amazing. You can see the kind of backdrop that Paraty has from this shot. All of these shots, incidentally, were also when my daughter was a baby, and we spent a lot of time around here, and I'd have to get up very early to give Fabi a chance to sleep. So I saw the sunrise many times in Paraty, including that one. So these are pictures I took on the latest trip. Paraty was built to flood, and it does so. And you have some very fun photography ensues. It's a really, really charming place, full of artists and ateliers and boutique shops, restaurants, bars and galleries. And it's a wonderful, wonderful place for families to stop on an itinerary around Brazil. And in the middle is one of the very first pousadas, which is now called Sandi Hotel. And it's got an enviable location right on one of the main streets. And in fact, one of the most amazing suites of Sandi Hotel is up here on this corner, which I've got some pictures of. But it's really, Sandi, who's our client and who owns the hotel and the houses, invested a lot of money in the pandemic and reimagined the hotel, really smartened it up and redecorated, and it's really quite stunning. That's the interior courtyard, and this is that room I mentioned, the master suite. That's a picture that I took, which gives you a sort of idea of the size of it, the living room, and then you've just got this incredible view right down onto everything that's going on in the historic centre of Paraty. And also brand new at Sandi Hotel is a Casa Bromelias, which is a house to the side of the main hotel, which has just been done up and just opened. Here's a bird's eye view of Paraty, sort of looking out to sea. In fact, this is what they call the tourist harbour, the Cais Turístico, and here is the fisherman's harbour. And all of the boat trips will come out from here. So you just walk from the hotel, 5 minutes walk, and then they'll all head over here to the left. And that's the reverse view, looking back to the mountains. And the Bay of Paraty awaits. You know, I think when I first headed out by boat from Paraty, I was just blown away. You know, no cars. It's an APA, an environmental protection area. Amazing local people, caçada cultures, clear water, warm water, fish, turtles. So most of what you do will be boat-based out here, stand-ups. That picture top right is a long time ago when I went up Pau de Açúcar with our great friends from Paraty Explorer. You can organise that with Sandi Hotel and with the Bon Jardim Villas. And we've had many years of great fun in the Bay of Paraty, and actually our kids have all learnt to swim in these waters. And here's a little video to show one of our favourite spots. I've never seen it so busy, it's normally deserted. This is called Chia, on the way to Managua. And there's me stand-up paddling. So Bon Jardim, 10 minutes by boat from Paraty, you're in this beautiful protected bay, which really is a bay within a bay within a bay. I mean, you know, it couldn't get more protected, and that is Loft on the left. And then there's a short walk to this beautiful beach where the main villa is. Now here's Loft as we arrived. It's a converted boathouse, reimagined, really beautiful, use of glass, quite modern, and 3 bedrooms. And that is Loft on the far side. And this shot's taken from Villa, which is the sort of parent, if you like. Villa is the main house, which has got 7 bedrooms. And this is one of the boats that families might well rent if they're staying here. It's a freeway, so you can get out into the bay and explore. These houses, incidentally, actually this is an important point, is that they're either taken together, so 7-bedroom villa and Loft, 3 bedrooms, or one or the other. So if a family rents Loft, they won't put anybody in villa. And then you've got the beach and you've got the sauna in the grounds and all that sort of stuff. So they wouldn't rent it to 2 different families at the same time. A few more pictures of Loft. How am I doing for time? Not too bad. This is the main suite at Loft, which looks out over the bay. And there's the picture I then took of the bathroom right next door to it in this amazing terrace. And this is one of the other 2 bedrooms. So 3 bedrooms, 6, 7 at push people. And there is Sandi hiding his face, but there is Sandi sitting on his deck, looking out into the bay. And there's Anna Louisa. She got fed up with me taking pictures, talking to the dog. So the harbour, this is the beach. All beaches in Brazil are public. Which is quite right too. So there may be the odd other fishing boat, but the grounds are private and there's very rarely many people here. And the grounds are beautiful, as you can see. All of these trees were built when Sandi and his family, so his mother Sandra and his father, when they came here originally, long before I fell in love with Paraty, they came to Paraty and started planting wonderful trees around these grounds. That gives you a bit more of an idea of Villa. There's lots of walking that you can do through the stunning gardens. There's an amazing glass sauna, and fully staffed. So that altogether, that's really quite unusual. Fully staffed, great chef, host, English-speaking host, your choice of boats. I recommend you go and send your clients. We thought it was really quite stunning. And that's Sandi's room in the main house. And now, amazingly, I'm reasonably on time, but now I'm sort of discombobulating you by taking you away from Paraty and the bay to the flights that we took to Caiman in the Pantanal, the great wetland, seasonal wetland of the Pantanal. And here's a little video to get us in the mood, slow us down. So we flew to Campo Grande, and it's about a 4.5 hour drive to Caiman. And we arrived quite late, but your clients normally would get into Campo Grande in good time. They might even arrive for lunch, but certainly they'd arrive in the afternoon. And then the next day, we went straight into a brilliant excursion with Arara Azul, the hyacinth macaw project. So Caiman has been a real pioneer of ecotourism in the Pantanal, and they support some really important NGOs. And Arara Azul has been incredibly successful with the amazing hyacinth macaws. I hadn't realized that they're the largest macaw. That's them down to the bottom right. And we went out with the researchers. In fact, over here is Lucas, who's shortly going to be going to our house near Paraty on honeymoon. And there he is up a tree, climbing a tree, checking the nests. So we had a lecture, brilliant lecture, at Casa Caiman at the main hotel. And then we went out to explore where the hyacinth macaws live and how they managed to be so successful. And we even planted a tree, which is that picture down there. Another NGO, which a lot of you will have heard of, is On Safari. And there is Pedro telling us all about On Safari and the incredible work they've been doing for quite a few years now at Caiman, and also have been very successful. And the kids absolutely loved working out which skull was which animal, and they mostly got it wrong. But On Safari guides are very well. Caiman guides, Arara Azul, On Safari, very engaging, very good with families. There's us out again on the On Safari vehicle, and you don't have to go out with On Safari. Honestly, you're still going to see jaguars if you don't, but it's about supporting this project, and their success has meant that now 98% of visitors to Caiman see jaguars. Their success with the habituation model, which was brought over from Sabi Sands in Africa originally. They are great. And that picture, well, we got lots of Caiman, which is how Caiman got its name, but also that is to remind me, I don't know whether you can see this, but I feel like I'm on Blue Peter. This is to remind me that these are the footprints, the paw prints of a jaguar and a tapir. So as we're building up the excitement to hopefully see jaguars, because you never know, it might not happen, they're also engaging the kids. They're saying they're tracking, they're looking at the paw prints, and the kids managed to bring those back. They are slightly broken. There's a tapir toe on one side, but I'm going to glue them together. And you know, this was so exciting and educational for the kids, I can't tell you. And we go out and we're tracking, and the tension's building, and then we see Fera, which is this beautiful jaguar. You can see she's collared. And by the way, about, I think it depends, but around, I think 5 or 6 jaguars are collared now. And On Safari are looking and tracking, well, not tracking, but they know there's about 55 to 60 jaguars on the whole 53,000 hectares of Caiman. So it's a huge area, lots of jags. And yes, they do occasionally lose cattle to the jaguars. That's Farah. She came back. We went out at night as well. And we saw 3 jaguars, but the best sighting was definitely beautiful Farah, who was, I don't know, some of you might have seen BBC Two's Brazil Super Cats on BBC Two a few years ago. I do go on about it every now and again because it was my great mate Joe Stevens who filmed it, produced it, but the David Attenborough did the voiceover. But that's worth having a look at if you get a chance. And this is Farah. So she was one of the orphans that they found, orphan cubs. Great rewilding success. So yeah, we learn about the jag. We learn about how On Safari are habituating, and all this amazing information they're building up about jaguars so that we can help conserve them. And, you know, the kids got, particularly Lucas, got very excited with trying to spot them and with learning about them and learning their habits. That's a tapir. I love this video. You'll see why. Tapir legs it. Jaguar has already eaten. So the kids loved this video. Lucas and I did a presentation about On Safari to his class when we got back. And I did the same with Bella in year 1 and Lucas in year 4. And On Safari, yeah, this was something really special at Caiman. You know, the learning about the natural world and then going out and experiencing it. And all of that work has meant that over here you can see in 2021, 99% of people at Caiman saw jaguars. And let's not forget our friend Diogo, great guy Diogo, and he has started a really important new project called Tapirape. So this is to habituate the very shy tapir, which we were lucky. We actually saw 3 or 4 tapirs, and we didn't see a giant anteater, which was the only sort of disappointment. But as always, you know, nothing can be guaranteed. So yeah, Diogo is working really hard. Mr. Tapir, as we call him, he's working really hard to habituate tapirs so we can learn about them and again help protect them. And this is the work of the NGO, also the work of NGO On Safari, who, by the way, oh, they've got lots of awes from my school kids when that video came on. So On Safari also work at our client Trijunção in the Cerrado, habituating the maned wolf. And there is Diogo producing an artificial clay lick. This does go on a bit, but it's quite fun because it gives you a little sense of the work behind, and the kids were learning the work behind habituating. So he's doing this for a tapir. And the camera trap is recording all sorts of creatures that he wasn't really trying to attract. And again, come on tapirs, where are you? Diogo with his zen-like patience. And then we smell something a bit pongy. The peccaries. I think that's an agouti. If I'm wrong, apologies. And finally, he gets tapirs. And anyway, this video goes on and on and on. At one point, he went on holiday and left his vehicle near the clay lick for a couple of weeks. So just standing there so that the tapirs get used to the vehicle. That's the first step. There you go. He went on holiday. He left his vehicle. The tapirs get used to the vehicle, and eventually they'll get used to him, and then eventually get used to tourists. And this is how habituation works. Anyway, back to our trip. We did a bit of horse riding. You know, I think this is it's lovely for a family to go out. It's not for, I wouldn't say it's for experienced riders because it's the pace is lovely and slow. That might be something that comes in the future, but it's a brilliant optional extra at Caiman, which we loved. Isabella particularly is obsessed with horses and horse riding, so she loved that. And then in the evening, not to be missed, is this amazing sunset canoe ride, which everybody loved.
Bella, you're not scared to put your fingers in where the Caiman are?
No. The Caiman are very friendly and they will be very scared.
So a few of the other, drawing to a close now, but a few of the other, these are all my pictures of some of the other animals we saw. Caiman everywhere, hyacinth macaws, tapirs, fox over there. The fox was actually looking at the carcass and was upwind of the jaguar. So spent a long time wondering whether they should have a go, and then eventually realized that was a very bad idea because Vera was hiding under the tree. And yeah, Jabiru, the wonderful Jabiru down there, bottom right. Capybara, of course. If Amanda was watching this, she would be wishing I had more pictures of capybara. And a profusion of birds. Really amazing for birders. And Casa Caiman, which is where we stayed, the new lodge. So that was entirely reimagined during the pandemic. And really quite smart. It's taken the level of accommodation in the Pantanal now to a new level. 18 rooms and suites. This is one of the central areas near the restaurant. It's really, really beautiful and very comfortable place to stay and base yourself for explorations into the Pantanal. A wonderful pool, which my kids, we would go out very early, and they actually wanted to get up at 5:30 and go out very early. And then when we came back, we would sort of have second breakfast, and then eventually we'd jump in the pool for a few hours before we went out late in the afternoon and in the evening. Those of you that know Caiman will remember that there are two houses separate to the new Casa Caiman, Cordillera with 5 rooms and Bayazinha with 6. And those are buyouts only now, so private groups only. So we said goodbye to the Pantanal and its amazing landscapes and sunsets. And then this last slide is just to show you. I'm not going to talk about it. You'll be pleased to hear, because time is drawing to a close. But we went from the Pantanal to Bonito, and in Bonito, it's only about a 2.5 hour drive from Caiman. Something completely different. And if you're water-based like me, something really, really marvelous. Espelho d'Agua, and Rio de Prata is something I'd never done before. And little Bella, talking about all of the things they learned in this trip. Little Bella had never snorkeled, and we snorkeled for about 2 hours down this crystalline river full of fish. So really, I don't feel bad about taking my kids out of school for a few extra weeks, because the experience they had will be with them for a lifetime. And there's Lucas with his on safari bag, and he still has his on safari hat, is his favorite hat. So I'm now going to stop sharing. I've done far too much talking, and I'm hoping that somebody may turn their video on and ask me a question. Simon Williams, the Humboldt one sounds the best. Well, there's a little in-joke from Simon Williams, because Humboldt travel. But yes, Humboldt, the loft in Mogol, is a beautiful place to say, Simon. Thank you for that. And good to see you here. Now, is anybody going to share their video and ask me a question? Come on, let's have a chat, just for 5 minutes.
I've got a question. With the Villa Jardim, is that buyout only as well, or can you do both?
Yeah, sorry, Stephanie. Yes, it is. It is buyout only. So Sandi Hotel is a kind of more conventional hotel, and then the same owners, but operated differently, are the other villas. So they're 7 bedrooms and 3 bedrooms. They're for buyouts, and what they include is all the staff. And the cooking of food is included, but the ingredients the clients will pay for, the supermarket price ingredients that they organised before. And also 3 boat trips into Paraty a day are included. So it's 10-15 minutes away, but you can zip into Paraty 2 or 3 times a day, no problem. You can go in and eat in the restaurants there, and then boat excursions into the bay are extra cost.
Okay. And just in terms of Caiman Ecological Reserve, would you say a minimum 4 nights?
I'm glad you're asking me these good tour operator questions, which I should have covered. You can do minimum 3, but honestly, I would go for 4.
Yeah. Okay.
And I mean, I haven't answered that question for Ibichipoca, by the way, is how pieces are long, how long is a piece of string? I mean, we did 5 nights, and Fabi was saying to me, 5 nights, we've got to go to Paraty, we've got to see family. And I was like, no, it's got to be 5 nights. And it honestly wasn't enough. If people have only got 3 nights, then you just go to, I think you just go to Ingenio or Mogol.
Right.
If you've got more time, then you can sort of see a bit more of the area.
Okay, good to know. Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Emma Fritz has put her camera on. I wonder if she's got a question.
Yes, thank you. And it's related to the chat question as well. The VT village, how did you arrive? Was it a flight you took? Did you rent a car? Or is there
Again, I'm such a numpty for not covering all of this, but I had quite a lot to cover. But thank you. Yes. So I was going to say this, but I drove. But honestly, I don't really think most people would. So we've done it lots of times. We've driven from Rio to Ibichipoca, and it's about a 4-hour drive. The reason I wouldn't recommend it for anybody that doesn't know Brazil already, even people that know Brazil, is getting out of the cities in a hire car is really not easy. And so most people would take a transfer 4 hours to Ibichipoca, and when you're there, they've got, you can organize everything. You can organize excursions by horse, which I didn't mention. You can organize the mountain bikes, you can do walks, and they also have vehicles. They try and encourage people not to go by vehicle. And if you arrive by car, they actually charge you an environmental tax. So, they're trying to do things differently. And to answer your question, Emma, the other place that you can fly into is Juiz de Fora, which, if you remember right at the beginning, was that city. It's about the same size as Bristol, actually, where I live. And there are some flights from Sao Paulo to Juiz de Fora. So if you're in Sao Paulo, fly there, cheap, quick, and then a transfer back to Rio. That sort of circuit works very well. If you want to come from Belo Horizonte, which is also a hub, BHZ, the big hub in Brazil, then it's a little bit longer. It's about 5 hours from Belo Horizonte, but that can be done as well.
Perfect. Thank you. Looks like an amazing trip.
Thank you, Emma.
Just another quick question, sorry, about Ibichipoca. Would you recommend 4-wheel drive transfers then from Rio, or would a standard car be?
Oh, it's another good one. So you don't need a 4x4, Stephanie, for Mogol,
right,
or for Engenho. But the long answer to your question is that Muggins here thought that I wouldn't need a 4x4 to get to Arial.
Right.
And that you really do need. So Arial, as I said, you wouldn't normally go there straight away. And if you were to go there straight away, you definitely do need a 4x4. I mean, the last bit up the mountain is extraordinary. And my poor hire car, I won't say what provider it is in case I get sued, but it was not to be recommended what I tried to do. When you're at Mogol, you can actually organize excursions by electric bike. And I think they're going to have electric vehicles soon as well, where you can get to Arial. But no, don't need. The last 45 minutes is on unpaved, like earth road, but you can manage it in a normal car, Mogol and Engenho, not Arial.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you for your questions. I'm realizing now how many things I didn't cover. Ollie Lever, are you still on the other side of the pond?
I'm still alive, yes. Still in New York.
Still in New York City?
Yeah. Well,
what's the question?
Yeah, I have a Jaguars question. So we see that the chances of seeing them are pretty strong if you're not signed up for the on safari.
They are. They're very strong.
Yeah, I have those clients that need to be on the Jaguar project, but it's not essential, essentially. Yeah,
exactly. So you don't. What they'll do is, it's like this concept of radical cooperation, except that obviously On Safari is hosted by Caiman. So On Safari has got us to the point where all people who stay at Caiman, irrespective of whether they go out with On Safari, will basically will definitely see Jaguars, but nobody wants to say definitely. So you don't need that. But what you do by going out with On Safari is you meet these biologists and guides, and you're supporting their work, and they'll take you in deeper.
Good. Okay.
Thanks.
Sounds good.
See you, mate.
All right. No, and you. Speak soon.
Anybody else? What about you, Horwell? You got a question? Sue Morkill, I can see there. Vanessa. Anybody else, or shall I wrap it up? I am.
Thanks, Simon.
Oh, Sue, there you go.
I am here. You answered all our questions.
Any question at all?
No, you answered everything.
I like it. I like it when people put their videos on. I think it's, maybe not everybody wants to, but anybody that wants to, just say hello, and in a minute I'll end this.
Hello.
Ollie's there. Orwell's probably gone to get a cup of tea or something. There's Stephanie. Thanks for your question, Stephanie and Emma. So, yeah.
Anyway, nice to see you.
Wrap it. There he is. Well, wrapping it up. Really. Anybody else before we say goodbye on this beautiful Thursday afternoon? In which case,
really helpful. Thank you very much.
Oh, thanks, Sue. It's great to see you, and thank you all for coming. I hope it was useful. It was definitely imperfect, and very personal, and I'm very biased, because like Horwell, I'm married to a Brazilian, but I just would encourage everybody to get back to Brazil.